What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the spinoff. I am your host, Brian Knudsen. Today, everybody, check this out. Look who I got with me right here. Mr. Number 3 for Nebraska, free safety Eric Warfield, not to mention NFL vet. Thank you for joining me today.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. We got a big day today. It's kind of, I've been getting a lot of phone calls and some tweets about who should I root for because we got so many Husker players that play for the Buccaneers, but my loyalty lies with my Chiefs. So I was like, I can't turn my back on the team that actually made me when I got my brothers playing for the other team. So I'm just hoping that they play well, but my team plays better.
Yeah, that seems like a heck of a pickle to be in when you spent so much time with the Chiefs. And of course, your loyalty ties to Nebraska, and you got, like you said, so many former Huskers with Tampa Bay. I don't blame you for rooting for the Chiefs, man. You spent time there. You put blood, sweat, and tears into that organization. So I think you
I
earned
did
the
the same
right.
thing. I did the same with the Huskers, but it's different. Like if it was the Huskers playing, then obviously I'm going to go for the Huskers. But it's some of my Nebraska brothers that are playing with the opposition. So I gotta root for the team that's basically put food on my table. So that's giving me a living. So yeah, that's where my loyalty lies.
Hey, can't blame you. All right. So what was the football scene like in Texarkana, Arkansas? What was it like there? Was it huge?
I wouldn't necessarily call it huge, but by the time, what was it? Maybe 4 or 5 years before I got to high school, I didn't watch a whole lot of. I didn't go to a whole lot of games. Man, I was so caught up into like the kids' lifestyle and just doing little silly stuff. So when I got to high school, a couple years before I got to high school, our team was really, really good, and we were playing in the state championship. And Pine Bluff had a guy named Basil Shabazz, and Shabazz was a bad, like Stephen A. says, a bad, bad man. And the dude was so good. I think he was recruited to play professional baseball. He was one of the best football players we had ever seen. Because you toss him the ball and he's going for 80 yards because he runs so fast. In track, I think he ran a 10-100. So he was just unbelievably gifted athletically. And our football team, our high school football team, was really, really good at the time. We had a lot of great athletes, and we let that one guy demolish us. So that was the start of me understanding football as a whole, and basically what I could bring to it. Because even in middle school, I didn't play. I wasn't too big into sports, and it was around my 9th grade year, and my coach had me to run hurdles. And when I ran those hurdles, I was successful on the first day. And it was like my whole athletic transition came from a subpar athlete to one of the better kids that we had at our school. So I don't know what hurdles bring out of you, but they brought the best out of me. So
See, that's something I did in junior high was run hurdles. It's fun when you get that technique down. Absolutely, there's
yeah,
something about it. There's a huge technique to hurdles, and not a lot of people realize that.
that's true.
All right, so during your recruitment process, I've talked to Abdul Muhammad about this. I talked to Amon Green. Um, Gentleman I interviewed yesterday was Bernard Thomas. Talked to him about it as well. During your recruitment process, who was it really, or what was it really, that convinced you that Nebraska was the right choice?
Tony Samuels was the guy that recruited me out of Texarkana. Um, and he was pretty set on getting me out of there. And I didn't watch, like I said before, I wasn't, I was big into sports. I just didn't watch a lot. So I didn't know where Nebraska stood, where they were located, or any of this. And all I heard from in the South was, like Miami, Oklahoma, Arkansas, who else was good at that time? Notre Dame was always a big name. So those are like the big schools when I was coming out. But other than that, I didn't know a whole lot about college football or, bowl games and all this crap. And all of a sudden, the season is over with, and we run right into basketball season. And I wasn't the best basketball player, but I could jump pretty out the gym almost. And Coach Osborne steps in. He steps into the gym, and I'm talking about every single head just turned as soon as he stepped one foot in because everybody knew who he was. And so I was excited because my coach was excited. He kind of explained how big the situation was. And I had other coaches to come, but like nothing like Coach Osborne. Plus, Nebraska was a top 3 team at the time. Same year we played Florida State in the bowl game, and we lost it. But in my eyes, we won it from that last field goal. Plus, they took, not to go back into that, the touchdown that supposedly the fullback had, and the touchdown they called back on Corey Dixon's punt return. Yep. So it was a whole bunch of crap in that game.
Yeah, the phantom block in the back. I remember that very vividly.
Yeah. So him coming and having such a career coaching-wise in Nebraska, like I said, it made the crowd become more intense than what it really was. And I had a couple of dunks in that game that I was trying to show out. Just because Coach Osborne was there, I wanted him to see my athleticism. So yeah, Tony Samuels was the guy that putting in the legwork, and Coach Osborne pretty much sealed the deal when he came in.
That's amazing. It always seems to me that for some reason it seems Coach Osborne was like the guy, that the closer. It seems like if he wanted you, he's going to come and tell you he wants you. And it seems like everybody was on the same page with him right after talking with him. It's amazing.
Yeah. What's crazy is that I did 2 years volunteer coaching with Coach Pelini, Bo Pelini.
Oh, that's right.
And there is a few times where I would sit in on the meetings to when they were recruiting high school kids. And JP had said, it's a lot easier if we can get you to go out to visit some of these kids, and because they got guys like Stoops and Saban walking into these kids' households, and that's a big sell to get those kids to come to those schools. I didn't know Bo Pelini wasn't going to these kids. Like that's crazy to me. Like if you're supposed to sit here and you want these big time recruits, 5-star kids, you got to go out there and convince them that you want them. But if you just put it in the hands of these guys, like how do you think we're going to get those kind? But I don't want to sit there and make it like Bo was a bad coach, because he's definitely good.
Yeah,
he's good at what he does, and I enjoyed the 9+ win seasons that we got with him, because those are hard to come by as we see now. But that was just one thing that kind of shocked me, and I don't know if it was for every kid. I just knew that at the meeting that I sat in and that conversation was brought up, it shocked me to know that he wasn't going to see these kids.
And see, that's kind of worrisome, considering that Nebraska, we need that higher recruiting class, obviously, to get us over the slump we've been in for the past, my gosh, 15, 20 years as far as competing for a national title. So, yeah, to hear that he wasn't going out trying to get those high-touted recruits, it's kind of discouraging a little bit.
Yeah. But again, I say, he still got us 9+ wins a season.
Yeah.
And that one kid that you didn't go visit, would that have made a difference? Possibly. We don't know.
Exactly. And that's something we're never going to know. So, I mean, it's like you said, it's in the past. We're never going to know it. So no point in whining about it, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. So draft day, the whole draft experience. Take me through like the swing of emotions on the draft weekend, and how did you handle it?
Okay, so back into that whole of being oblivious to things. being on such a good team, I felt like my position on that team, out of 11 guys offensively, 11 guys defensively, and probably a few guys thrown in there for special teams, I felt like I was probably the 28th, maybe 29th best player that we had on our team. So I didn't feel like I was an actual football player. I just felt like I was an athlete. Like I can play any sport and I can be good at any sport. So when it came to certain things within a football scheme, I could do it. Like I couldn't run as fast as most of the guys we had on the team. I couldn't lift as much as most of the guys. Wasn't as quick. I didn't understand football to a certain extent. I wouldn't say I understood it, but to the highest level of what a lot of those guys did. So, but I knew how to fit in where it needed to be. And so with our team, you got to understand we had some beasts on our team, offensively and defensively. And I didn't think I was one of those beast players. I did well enough to help my team win, the national championships and the games that we did win. But as far as placing myself within that team to say I'm one of those tops, I didn't see it. And going into the draft, I got invited to the combine, and that's where I said to myself, like, man, there's no way this NFL thing is made for me. Like, there's all these guys right here, like they're top tier, and so I couldn't run. I was a 4.4, which sounds fast, but heck, I think we had at least 20 guys that were running easily 4.3. So, and you look at that and you're discouraged because you're looking at everything, size, speed, quickness, how they jump, strength, like everything. And you compare yourself to it, it's like, yeah, I don't, this is not me. And so going into it, I had a couple of agents tell me that I was possibly late first round and maybe second day, not first round draft pick, but first day draft pick or second day draft pick. So I was hopeful just a little, but really had no plan of action or what I was going to do either with football or without football. And it just so happens that day came that Marty Schottenheimer called me and said, "Hey kid, we enjoyed your workout." He says, "Unfortunately, we're not going to play you at safety though." He said, "We're going to try you at corner because we like, some of the a lot of your movements, and we think we can, with the guys we have, we can help you transition." And right then and there, I was like, I've never had to cover a guy one-on-one, so like, how the heck am I going to do this? So I felt like my career basically started and ended with that phone call. Unfortunately, I ended up having some great guys ahead of me that helped me understand the position and show me a lot of the ways of playing the techniques.
So what was the biggest transition from going from safety to corner? What was it in the technique that needed to change?
Oh, but you got to react to a guy's movement at corner, and 9 out of 10 of those guys is going to be running a 4.3, 4.2. So they're going to be faster. They're going to be quicker. They know where they're going, and you don't. So your reaction is based upon how you study the film and their body movement. So yeah, I had never done that. In all of Nebraska, I don't think I ever covered a tight end one-on-one. So having to do that or the thought of that was mind-boggling to me. And even with our corners that we had in Nebraska, our front seven was so good, you didn't have to cover very long. So you got a quarterback that's going to have a hand or pads in his face on 90% of the plays if you're playing on our defense. So corners really didn't have to show a whole lot. Now we had some great ones, but they didn't have to do a whole lot out there. And even at safety, we didn't have to do a whole lot. It's just a matter of playing honest at your position and not trying to do too much. Because that front seven, you got Grant, Jason Peter, Mike Rucker, and Kelsey and all those guys coming at you. You don't have time to do much.
Yeah, you talk about Nebraska lines. That's a stacked cast right there. It's an amazing defensive line right there that most Husker fans are going to remember easily. So with transitioning over to corner, Which one would you have rather played? What would safety or corner have been the preferred position?
Now I had fun at corner until I got the contract. So meaning that is that people were I had fans at the time and people were excited. You know, if you made a mistake before the contract, it wasn't a big deal. But when the contract came, it's like, oh, you're accountable for everything. You know, you can go out there and every play you play well. And it just so happens in the fourth quarter, you get caught slipping on one play, and that one play is a touchdown or a big play to cost the game. And man, you go to well back then there wasn't, you know, we have ESPN. Uh, but mostly it was newspaper articles, and they would just rip you apart. And so I wasn't one of those that was strong minded to be able to deal with a lot of the scrutiny. So um, yeah, that stuff hurts you to the core when you read, and they basically, you know, I mean, I don't want to go into detail, but it eats you alive mentally, though.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, you got to kind of have a little bit of thick skin, especially in the NFL, because if you're in that spotlight, you make a mistake. Yeah, like you said, yeah, critics, reporters, they're gonna pounce on it.
Yeah, and it's mostly, you know, the worst part is having the guys, what do they call them,
Oh,
Twitter beef.
keyboard
Yeah,
warriors.
you know, those guys get on there and say some harsh things about you. And it's like, man, you got a kid yourself. Your kid's gonna be raised, and what if they play sports? I mean, would you want anybody saying the things that you're saying to this person? You know, we're human just like you. You know, we're playing an elite sport. That's our job. But heck, everybody's gonna get beat.
Yep.
It happens, and you can't, you know, just take it personal to where you just go out there and just treat a person that way and say things like that you say about them, knowing at some point it's gonna get to them, and I'm pretty sure you know that once you know hit the send button. So and even with those, you know, newspaper articles, they try to be more professional about it, but yet, you know, it still hits you, but not as hard as when you hear from the fans, because the fans don't, they go all in. They don't have to be accountable. There's not a job they're losing just because they have something to say about you as a person
Yeah, they won't hold back at all. That's for
at
sure.
all.
I remember a story during it was the '94 season. We played Miami in the Orange Bowl. The Miami's quarterback Frank Costa. That young man was under a ton of scrutiny in the papers in Miami for a game they had lost earlier that season. I guess they ripped this poor young man apart. But then to see how he came out and how he performed in that Orange Bowl and the toughness he showed. I mean, he ultimately lost. Of course, we all know the history there, but that young man, he got torn apart and torched in Miami, but yet still came back and fought as hard as he could. So I gave him a lot of credit.
Yeah.
So let's see. What did it feel like when you made the roster, when you were drafted over, and what did it feel like when they said, Eric, you've made the cut, you're on the final roster? What was that feeling?
It's just relief. You know, the entire time you got a seventh round draft pick, and they've drafted two or three other guys the same year you were drafted, um, and on the first day, and also some of the free agents they bring in from other teams, and seeing how far you have to go from where you started to, like, you have no understanding. I didn't know any techniques. I didn't even know what to look for. I didn't know anything about the corner position. You know, I played safety. I knew what I had to, as a safety, I got your back on certain calls. I knew where to be, put myself in position to help you. But as far as like what you had to do on a daily, or not even a daily, on an average basis per second, I didn't understand any of that. The concept, the awareness, any of it. And then to be just thrown in the fire, say, hey, that's your guy. you got to stop him one-on-one. And then coming in the same draft as a guy as Randy Moss, like,
Yeah.
and our training camp was in River Falls, Wisconsin, and we had to practice against the Vikings every summer going into training camp. So my first year, training camp, I think second week in, we're playing the Vikings. I haven't learned much about the position at all.
Oh man.
And then I think after that first week, we go into a preseason game. We play the Vikings. Randy goes out and has a big game. I think he had 2 catches on me for maybe 40 yards total, but one of them was a touchdown. Oh. And it was an amazing touchdown. So Adam Teicher came to me after the game and asked me and interviewed me and asked me about that. I was like, yeah, he's an amazing athlete, and obviously he lived up to it. But to see the things that he's able to do with his size, being with that frame, small, skinny frame, dude's gifted. He's very, very gifted, and he knows it. I felt like I did not do enough to hold my job, but looking back on it, the whole Randy Moss to 40 yards is pretty damn good. So not many people can say that they did it. And so Adam kind of gave me that encouragement, like, dude, I watched the game. I watched him play. You did really, really good on him. And the one play that that he got the touchdown, I think it was a cover 2, so that's a zone. You're not going to stop too many players in a zone. So after that, couple more weeks, they told me I had the position. Well, not the position, but I made the cut. And the guys in front of me was Dale Carter, James Hasty, and Mark McMillan. So they're all 3 different sizes, all 3 different techniques. And so I had to learn something from each one of those guys in order to put myself in position to learn how to play the cornerback position. And it worked for me.
I was going to say, so taking a little bit from each one, did that just help complete the game in your mind for you?
It helped a lot because like I said, I didn't understand my body of work. So I was a big corner. I was one of the bigger corners in the NFL. I had pretty decent quickness. I can jump really high, but I had long arms. And so each one of those guys gave me something of which they used to their advantage. And Hasty was very physical, technician, worked the line of scrimmage really, really well. Best I've seen it with anybody. So I got that from him. McMillan was just one of those to where he's undersized and he has to use his talent, whatever he can use at his size and quickness as an advantage over most receivers. And so I had to take some of that when I played off coverage. Now, Dale Carter is just an athletic freak. A lot of things that he does, I can't do. But I see within him the tall lankiness of which I had and how to use that on smaller corners, because if I'm beat by a step, my size, you got to throw a perfect ball to throw a ball over me to get to a small receiver. So, and so I had to, take that from how he used it to my advantage also. So each one of them gave me something to implement in my game. So made it a lot easier.
That's good. I mean, as long as you had that mentorship from not just one source, but multiple sources,
yeah,
that had to be extremely beneficial to coming into the league.
That it did. And plus, they helped me make the team too. Because I said we had other guys that were drafted, but I had developed such a good relationship because I wanted to get to know these guys, their families, what they do outside of football, what they do, in the meeting room. So these are the guys that I basically talked to and hung around. But even so, when it came to it on cut day, we had developed such a relationship to where it's like they're going to go to my position coach and say, hey, of these guys, he's the one that we like best. So that's another thing that I think young guys can understand. Like, you want to try to make the team, you got to get to know these older guys, the starters, and become close with them so that when it comes to cut time, they got your back.
That's you definitely want to make friends coming into camp. I would think so. That would be first and foremost, is just make friends. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So just moving right along, kind of a, toss-up question, pretty easy. It is just something I personally wanted to know. Who was your least desired opponent on the field?
So
Whether it be just a team or just single player, either one's fine. Just one I wanted to personally know.
okay, that it's kind of a, how do I explain it? I'm gonna say Randy was probably the toughest because of his attributes. Marvin was one of the hardest because of his relationship with Peyton. The one that I hated the most was Rod Smith. Now, Rod is from my hometown, same high school. He's the one that they got me to go to sign with Nebraska, because I had never opened those letters up until Rod came back. So he came back and asked me what schools was I considering, and I showed him the box, and he's like, "Dude, like you got all these letters from Nebraska. You need to open them and you know see what you got here, because that's a really really good school." Like I said, they were top 3 at the time, but I didn't know. So Rod was the one that kind of got me to go to Nebraska. Now that's what made it so. I wouldn't say hate, but the reason I didn't like covering Rod, because if anything happened, it's, I don't say locker room, but it's hometown talk.
Yeah.
Because it's like who got the best of who.
Ooh.
And whether there's a block, whether there's a catch, anything, it's always who's the better player from Texarkana. So but on the field, it was a lot of fun because Rod was one of those. He's pretty much a mentor to me because I think he's 5 or 6 years older. Always looked out for me, always called me before they came to town, and always chatted with me during the game, after the game. But it made it hard because we had this close relationship, but you couldn't treat it like it was an opponent. It's almost like you're out there against family, and there's certain little things you don't want to do, but you have to do. And going into it, it's the same with him. Like if he's got the opportunity to catch a deep pass, he's going to catch it on me. If I got a shot, to catch him across the middle, I have to hit him. And yet you don't really want to. You kind of want to take some of it off, but then again, it's like this could be some hometown talk. Everybody, I go back home, everybody will say, "Yeah, you blew Rod up, like you knocked the crap out of him." And so yeah, that's kind of the complicated part of guarding him.
Man. All right. So on the flip side of it, I saw a piece put together about Andrew Luck not too long ago, how he's revered as probably the nicest guy in the league. Guys sack him and he's congratulating them on the sack when he gets up. So on the flip side of it, is there anybody you ever went against that was like that, where it was no animosity whatsoever? They're just beyond happy to be out there and be doing this.
Okay, so saying that, Coach Vermeil said that about me.
That's good. That's good.
Anytime I make a tackle, I'm always the one to reach down and pick a guy up. But you see it nowadays, guys make a tackle, and even they're friends with the guy. They just stand up and walk off and don't help him up. And so, and they shake hands after the game, talk, whatever else. But during the game, they don't help the guys up. It's like, hey man, good play, or next time, or none of that. It's just me. I always help the guy up, and I didn't know, until Coach Jamil was like, what the hell is this? Like, we playing nice guy or what? So he's gonna help him up. Like, no, leave him down there.
Coming from Coach Vermeil, I mean, Coach Vermeil is one of the nicest guys out there too. So, I mean, to hear him say, "What is this? The game of niceness?" That's weird. That's weird to me. It really is. All right, so you had a very lengthy NFL career, 9 seasons, if I'm correct. So, I mean, that is a lot of time on the field, a lot of time on the road. New players coming in, old players going out, and vice versa. So, out of that, is there one single greatest memory from the NFL that you can pluck out and share with us?
All right, so my favorite is, I grew up a 49ers fan because I enjoyed the work of Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, and Roger Craig. Like, those guys were phenomenal to me. Plus Roger being an alumni from Nebraska. I'm playing against the Raiders. Jerry Rice is lined up in front of me. I'm a Jerry Rice fan.
Oh.
So I'm sitting there, I'm shocked. I want to say, man, hey, how's it doing? I want to shake his hand and all this, but I can't. I can't. So I'm just lined up. And first play of the game, very first play, Rich Gannon comes, tries to throw a slant my way. I pick it off for a touchdown. So that was a highlight of my entire career because I'm sitting there, I'm starstruck, I'm speechless. I didn't know how to play the position, but something kicked in on that first play. I'm talking about was it 14 seconds and maybe 14 minutes and maybe 50 seconds? Like first play, touchdown Kansas City on me. And I had no idea. And I think it was just one of those moments where it's like I was so starstruck, I was kind of blacked out. And then the moment to where instincts just kicked in and a play was made. But that shook the cobwebs out, and I was good to go for the rest of the game. Played pretty decent the rest of the game, but that was just that moment of for me that's always going to be in my memory bank.
So did you get to talk to Jerry after the game then?
I did not. They were gone because they lost the game. A lot of times when guys lose a game, they run off the field just to get the heck out of there. Plus, I think it was in Kansas City that we won that game. So yeah.
Yeah, they probably wanted to dip out pretty quick and just
Yeah.
head on home. All right, so we'll transition out of your athletic career. Looking up on some personal things on you, this was awesome. You're the VP of Sales at Limitless Health Solutions. So, explain to us what is Limitless Health Solutions and what do you guys do exactly?
Okay, so I'm not with that group anymore. That's a
Oh,
group of
okay,
friends here that were doing a what do you call it? Um, they were doing a concierge service,
okay.
providing professional athletes with either limos or hotels or whatever services they need when they go to any particular city, instead of them having to look up all that stuff. And I was kind of the face for them because I had just moved to Dallas, and that's what they were doing. They had just kicked off the ground, so those guys are still doing it. It's just something that I wasn't into. But heck, I think that's still on my LinkedIn though, and
It is.
I don't even know how to get into LinkedIn.
Yeah, and that's why I put it down there because it said from, I believe it was 2014 or 16 to present. And I'm just thinking,
Yeah,
well, okay, yeah, that I guess it must check out. That might be it.
yeah,
So,
I haven't been on LinkedIn in 2 or 3 years.
okay, so we'll just write off LinkedIn. We'll just get that
But
out of the way.
yep.
All right,
So most of
so
my time is with nonprofit organizations. I do every year I take 100 kids shopping for Christmas, and I try to give each kid $100, and then at times we gather a few other things, Christmas items, as far as bikes, games, whatever else we can get donated to give to those kids. So it's harder when you're in a city where nobody knows who you are. They can Google and say, "Oh, he played for this team," but that's not our team. So we want to help somebody that's not Cowboys out here. I'm in the Cowboy Nation out here in
yeah,
Dallas. So, and it was actually being in Nebraska that made me understand um, how bad it was with loyaltiness when it comes to supporting little things. So I had gotten helmets from about 12 different teams when I was in the NFL, and I was helping the Lighthouse, which is a after school project
yeah.
program in Lincoln. So I got an autographed helmets from, when Brett Favre was playing with Minnesota. So it was Brett Favre and Adrian Peterson. I
Oh,
got Peyton Manning's, I had all kind of helmets signed, but they wouldn't sell for crap because, they don't have any Nebraska players. Now, if I got a helmet from a team that, we got a Nebraska player playing on, he didn't have to be a starter. It sold for big bucks because they know that's what they know. And so that's what they know, and that's what they support. And so it's kind of the same everywhere else you go. So like I'm here in Dallas, it's hard, but I've run across some people that that just love to give or to help out. So we've made it work here.
so you ever talk to, since you're in Dallas, ever talk to Randy Gregory or the other ones? escaping my mind right off the
We
bat.
had Malik Collins here, and Malik
Malik.
is now with the Raiders. I do see Luke Gifford. I have his
That
number, so
that's
I
who I was
chat
trying.
with Luke. Yeah, I chat with Luke quite often. But Randy, I was talking to Randy right at the time of his last game before his suspension. But since he's been back, I haven't.
Okay, okay. Yeah, at least you keep in contact with former Huskers. I mean, that's really got to help guys out, especially when they're leaving college, going to a pro team. They don't know anybody really, except maybe passerbys that they may have played against in college. So
Yeah,
having that, that's got to be huge for rookies coming in.
you would think. I haven't, as far as rookies going into teams, I haven't talked to a whole lot of guys that are in their rookie year. I mean, even like with Levante, I was there with Levante when he left. Like I was coaching Levante at Nebraska.
Yep.
But his first year at Tampa, I don't think I talked to him very much. I mean, since then I keep in touch with him. I keep in touch with Sue. I have both guys' numbers. Kind of wish them well again, but I'm still hoping my Chiefs win. Um, but yeah, I try my best to keep in touch with everybody that I've come across with. Like everybody that I played in Kansas City, I still talk to all those guys, and even the little podcast that we do, we have all those guys on. So we had Coach Emil on a few weeks ago, and they're always fun to catch up and hear old stories. So
Yeah, Coach Vermeil would be one that, man, that's a guy I'd love to talk to because growing up, that guy, he just seems like he reminded me of Coach Osborne a lot.
exactly.
That's exactly why that man, I would have ran through a brick wall for him just like I would have for Coach Osborne.
Yep.
All right, so we'll wind it down right now. This is where I am going to turn it over to you. This is where you can let everybody know where to find you on social media. You already told us about some of the charities you're doing. Any other charities and organizations you want to throw out there? The stage is yours, Eric. Go right ahead and let everybody know what's going on.
Well, I mean, I don't have anything to throw out there except for my life. I mean, I'm here living in Dallas, Texas. I mean, I at the moment, Dallas hasn't taken my heart to call home yet. So there's a possibility of me moving back to Nebraska. I love it out there. I love the snow and changing of the seasons. We rarely get snow here, but it does give me a longer season to play golf, which I picked up. And but yeah, I love Nebraska. My daughter's there, and the reason for me moving here is because it's close to home. I have family here, brother and a sister, and I've been in Nebraska since '94. Actually, been in the Midwest since '94. So I figured it was time to get close to home, be close to the family. So I don't know if this is home for good. I feel like something within all those ends that I see that's kind of pulling me back to the Midwest. So we'll see after this year what happens. But other than that, yeah, I'm always on social media, Instagram, Twitter. Both are EA Warfield 44. So if you want to connect there, more than welcome. Send me a message, tag me on anything, or just a request. So I'm always available.
Yeah, that's pretty much how this got started. So you're very approachable, wonderful to talk to. Eric, thank you so much today. I am going to let you guys know you'll be able to find this, of course, on YouTube at my name, Brian Knutson. You can find me on Twitter at Knutson_Brian. And, of course, the Scarlet and the Cream Husker podcast. You can find that anywhere podcasts are. You can find that as well on Twitter at the Scarlet Cream. I'm going to close this out for today. Eric, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to have you on again soon.
Man, just let me know. Send me a text and let me know you want me on. We can do it again.
Will do. Thank you for your time.
All right, have a good one, B.
You too.